Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we will be doing something a little bit different. Today we will be doing a review. I've realized that I don't need to share the content that is just focused on talent acquisition. Over the past year or so, I spent a lot of time on personal development. I've taken many different courses online, and there was one that really just stuck with me. That was Leading People and Team Specialization from University of Michigan on Coursera. There was a lot of knowledge and information in this specialization, and I want to talk about what was covered during the course and what I learned from it. But before you find that out, you need to leave a like on this video and subscribe. Now, with that out of the way, let's go into the details of the specialization. If you've never been or used Coursera before, there are a few things you should know on how Coursera works. Right from the start, you need to understand that there are free courses on Coursera, but most of it's paid. Each course or specialization is priced differently depending on the length, instructors, institution, or the company that made the course. They also have a premium plan called Coursera Plus that is charged yearly. Here you get access to almost everything with no additional charge. Coursera Plus costs $400 per year. There are different types of courses you can take on Coursera. There are learning paths, specializations, guided projects, professional certificates, master track certificates, one-off courses, and degrees, both bachelor's and master's. Now, let's get into the course that I want to talk about so much. Leading People and Team Specialization is offered by University of Michigan by Dean of Ross School of Business Scott, Associate Professor Maxime, Chief Innovations Officer and Executive Director Sherry. The specialization is for somebody looking to step into the leadership or management role and gain the skills needed for the job, like how to inspire and motivate individuals, how to manage talent, how to influence without authority, and how to lead your teams. In this specialization, you will not only hear from Scott, Maxime, or Sherry. The way that the specialization is made is that they made interviews with Jeff Brodsky, who is a global head of HR for Morgan Stanley, and John, who is a head coach for the basketball team at Michigan University. They will share their personal experience throughout this specialization. In each part of the specialization, you will have an opportunity to apply the skills that you learned during the week in forms of quizzes and peer-graded assignments. In this specialization, there are 5 courses: Inspiring and Motivating Individuals, Managing Talent, Influencing People, Leading Teams, and Leading Teams and People Capstone. Let's start with Inspiring and Motivating Individuals. In the first course of this specialization, we learn how to create a vision for the team, how to set effective goals and expectations, what are the most important needs and drivers of performance, and how to align rewards with team behavior so that your team is motivated to achieve goals. In each of the 5 courses, we have 4 weeks of learning. First week, we learned how to become a visionary leader. Every team needs vision and guidance, and as a leader, it is your responsibility to create and communicate that vision with the team and guide them to achieve that vision. In first week, we had 1 quiz focused on strategies for visionary leadership. Second week, we learned how to set effective goals and expectations. As a leader, your most important role is to set clear expectations and goals for the team. In this week, we learned what makes an effective goal, how to make goals meaningful and motivating, and the risk of setting goals that are too challenging or too specific. In the second week, we had 1 quiz focused on setting effective goals and 1 peer-graded assignment focused on setting SMART goals. In peer-graded assignments, you are basically being graded by other students in the course, and every time when you have a peer-graded assignment, after you finish yours and submit it, you need to review other people's assignment based on the specific requirements of that assignment. In the third week, we learned how to understand human needs and drivers of performance across cultures. For us as leaders, we need to understand what motivates the people to take action and contribute to the team. This week, we learned about the needs that drive human behavior and how to leverage these needs to enhance motivation in your team. In the third week, we had 1 quiz focused on motivations and drivers of performance. Fourth week was focused on aligning rewards and behavior. One of the most common problems in any organization is that the rewards are not aligned with desired behavior, and closely in the second place, it's ineffective feedback on performance. Here we learned how to align rewards and behavior and deliver effective feedback. This week we had one quiz focused on aligning rewards and behavior and one peer-graded assignment focused on seeking feedback on your leadership. Second course in this specialization is managing talent. In this course, we learned what are the best practices for selecting, recruiting, and onboarding talent. This part was very easy for me since this is my job, so I went fairly quickly through it. Next to that, we learned key approaches to measuring performance and how to evaluate your team members. And also how to coach and develop the talent that you acquired so they can achieve their full potential. First week was focused on talent pipeline. For students not familiar with talent acquisition or recruitment, this was an introduction to the concept of talent pipeline. That week we had one quiz focused on talent pipeline. Second week was focused on managing performance evaluations and feedbacks. Here we learned how to collect, assess, and use 360 feedback, how to recognize and mitigate key errors that other people make in evaluating other people's performance. We heard about central approaches for measuring and evaluating performance and understanding the implications of using different evaluation systems for employees. We had one quiz focusing on managing performance evaluations and feedbacks and one peer-graded assignment focusing on employee development. Third week was focusing on developing and coaching your team members. In the third week, we learned how to develop, coach, and prepare our team for success. This is one of the essential skills for leaders. We had one quiz focusing on developing and coaching your people. Fourth week was focusing on creating and building a robust talent pipeline. Here we got to see a model that will help us assess those who will be leading in the future. Once the talent is hired, you will have to continue to develop the individual and engage them continuously. In the fourth week, we had one quiz focusing on creating and building a robust talent pipeline and one peer-graded assignment focusing on talent recruitment, selection, and onboarding. The next course was influencing people. The point of this course was to understand how we can influence without authority, meaning we are not their direct manager or leader. We saw how to build, develop, and sustain a power base in our organization. We touched a little bit on influencing tactics that enable us to be more persuasive and influential in conversations with our bosses, peers, and our team members. We also saw how we can build and maintain a high-quality relationships to help us further maximize our informal power and influence over other people. But we also learned how to distinguish the difference between influence and manipulation and how to protect ourselves from unwanted influence by others. In the first week, we learned how to build a base of power. If you want to be an effective leader, you must have power. There are two options, either formal power, where you have a title or the authority over the team, or you have expertise that can help influence other people. In this part, we learned how to do exactly that. The first week had one quiz focused on building your base of power. Second week was focused on influencing people without relying on formal authority. As I mentioned before, your power can be informal, meaning it's coming from your expertise. We learned how to use this to influence our boss or team members. Here we had one quiz focusing on influencing people without relying on formal authority and one peer-graded assignment on influencing for positive result. Third week was focused on building high-quality relationship to enhance our influence and power. As I said before, here we learned how to maintain and build the relationship so we can maximize and enhance our influence and power. This week had one quiz focusing on developing a high-quality relationship to enhance our influence and power. Fourth week was focused on something that's probably the most important, protecting ourselves from unwanted influence and manipulation. Throughout your career, people will try to influence you or manipulate you. It's important to understand the difference between the two and how to protect yourself in either situation. We learned what strategies and tactics we can use to protect ourselves. We had one quiz focusing on protecting ourselves and one peer-graded assignment focusing on protecting yourself from unwanted influence. Now, for the fourth and final course, Leading Teams. In Leading Teams, we learned how to build teams, improve teamwork and collaboration, and how to sustain team performance through continuous learning and improvement. We heard about best practices for composing the teams and aligning the individual and team goals. One of the major parts of this course was to learn how to establish roles, build structures, and manage decision making in your team so that the team excels. The course taught us how to effectively set up, evaluate, run, and continuously improve our teams. Focus of the first week was to learn how to design our team for excellence. We learned the strategies and tactics that would help us to do this effectively. We had to understand what is the optimal team size, diversity, values, and goals, as all of this has a big impact on team dynamic and performance. We had one quiz on developing your team for excellence. Second week was focused on how to structure our team for excellence. As a leader, it is your responsibility to make sure the team is structured properly and that there is a set of norms that guide the team and their behavior. We had one quiz focusing on structuring your team for excellence. In the third week, we learned how to manage the team dynamics. Here we learned how to create high-performing teams and recognize process hurdles and learn how to overcome them. We had one quiz focusing on managing team dynamics. Fourth week was focusing on creating a sustainable team performance and learning. When you're a team lead, it is essential to understand how to evaluate team performance and how to ensure that this high performance is sustainable in the team. Here we also learned how to ensure team learning and effective flow of ideas within the team. We had one quiz focusing on creating a sustainable team performance and one peer-graded assignment on improving your team performance. Now to the final assignment of the whole specialization, leading people and teams, Capstone. Everything that we learned in the past 4 courses comes down to the Capstone project. The Capstone project is designed to test everything that you learned in the past 4 courses. It will either be graded by the creators of the course or peers from the course. I'm not going to talk about the subject of the Capstone project because that is for you to discover if you decide to sign up. Overall, I really enjoyed this course. It's filled with information and knowledge that we can apply in our work. I want to say thank you to the University of Michigan and to Scott, Maxime, and Sherry for making the specialization. In the video description, I will be linking the certification from my course so you can see how it looks like, and over here you can see the grades for each course that I took. If you like this video or learned something interesting, leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what you learned from the course if you already took it or why you're considering taking it in the first place. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.